Hello, this is my learning blog. Here I store all of the English work that I've done throughout the year. Before we get into it, I would like to apologize for my sore throat, and if I sound croaky or if I mispronounce things, that's why. The first piece I would like to talk about is called The Autobiographical Incident. This is one of the earliest pieces I composed, and I'm not very proud of it. In this piece, there are 5 main things that I would like to talk about that I did wrong. One thing that really bugs me is how I make small mistakes and add adjectives that are definitely not needed. An example for this is this sentence here. Here I write, in our neighborhood there were smart, aggressive, sporty, rich, and cheeky kids. The amount of adjectives that were necessary in this situation were probably 2. But I would like to change it to, in our neighborhood there are many different personalities and qualities, and that's why living there made it so interesting. Another thing that I did that was annoying is sentence structure. Here I completely ruin a sentence that was actually pretty good beforehand. This is the sentence I'm talking about. It was absolutely empty. All the furniture that I cherished had disappeared. This part of the sentence is actually pretty good, and it keeps the fluidity of the sentence. But then I write, and that was when my mom called me to fly to Switzerland. However, I would like to replace that with, at that moment, my mom told me that I had to fly to Switzerland. This sentence also ties into how most of my sentences are quite boring and they have no fluidity in them. And that's also because of the sentence structure, but it could also be because of the word choice. If you read the whole article or so autobiographical incident, you would see that many of the words are words that pretty much anyone would know. And this is something that I tried to improve this year, but didn't really. Because I find that using complicating words is fairly difficult to incorporate into a piece, although you may use a dictionary and stuff like that. To show how I improved this, I would like to show you guys in an article that I wrote for a class called Academic Writing. Here I write about how the new schedule is the wrong move, and although I would like to show one that I've written for English, to compare an essay or a story to a poem is pretty difficult, and since we didn't really change the dialogue for the Shakespeare, I can't really show that either. So this piece, I write about I write a 5-paragraph essay on how the new schedule is the wrong move, and I find that the fluidity or the sentence structure has improved dramatically. If you read through it, that it's fairly interesting and it shows opinion and an argumentative point of view, which wasn't really in the story, and I think the story lacked fluidity as much as interesting facts and more detail. To talk about my research style, I find that everything's fairly similar. I haven't really changed how I research, but the way I plan before I write something has definitely been improved. Unfortunately, I don't have an article on this blog that shows my planning. I wish I did, because I could point out exactly what I did to change that. However, in the presenting part as well, I don't think I improved as much as in writing, because I feel very nervous when I present, and although my dialogue could be improved from the beginning of the year, depending on how important the assignment is, the more nervous I get and the worse my presenting will be. So for next year, I have many ideas on what I need to improve in my writing, and that is mood. I would like to talk more about mood when I'm writing a story, especially in stories like my autobiographical incidents or my Marcello story. The Marcello story lacked a lot of detail. I kind of jumped from one situation to the other, and I wish I hadn't done that, so I would like to improve that as well. But the mood is very important, because that's what sets it apart. That's what makes it and a story interesting, and makes it a lot more fluid as well. That's something that I would like to improve. Also, I would like to put an opinion, a real striking out opinion, as well as an improved diction, so that it makes it a lot more interesting to read. As well as that, I would like to improve my suspense and how I implement that into a story or an essay. Well, not as much as an essay. Also, my writing process, which is about self-revision. So how would I accomplish these goals that I've set for myself? One thing that I would like to do is organization. I find that although I put much effort in my pieces, I feel that it may be a little rushed, and sometimes I would like to pack in more detail that is quite unnecessary, and then I'll have a huge gap of detail, like a missing gap of detail in another section of the story. In essays, this isn't much of the case. However, I think in essays it's more about how um, how much detail I put in. It's kind of the opposite. I would like to put more detail into the story, because that was what makes us an essay, as much as puts the evidence in an essay. Another thing on how I can improve it is more reading, and that's something that will improve my diction and sentence structure. That's what the goals I've set for myself, and I hope I can complete those throughout the next year.